Marriage is often painted as the ultimate destination, a sacred bond built on love, loyalty, and shared purpose. A man enters it believing he has found his partner for life, someone who will stand beside him through triumph and hardship. He provides, protects, and commits, trusting that the foundation of his marriage is strong. But reality does not always mirror the ideal. A vow does not change human nature, nor does a ring guarantee loyalty. What many men fail to recognize is that marriage does not create virtue, it reveals character. In the early stages of a relationship, a woman presents her best self. She values her image, guards her attention, and expects a man to prove his worth. This is not deception, it is instinct. But once the structure of marriage is in place, something shifts. The security that once made her feel safe can, for some, become suffocating. The man who fought for her and made grand gestures is now a constant, predictable presence. He is there when she needs him, yet paradoxically, his unwavering availability makes him less compelling. The thrill of pursuit is gone, and in its place, a new desire emerges, a longing for contrast, for something uncertain, something that makes her feel alive in ways routine cannot. Not every woman seeks this escape, but many do. Some act on it impulsively, others justify it with quiet resentment. Either way, the pattern is the same. She rationalizes small betrayals. She convinces herself that her actions do not define her, that stepping outside the marriage is not truly a violation if she still returns home. She tells herself it is harmless, a momentary indulgence, a secret thrill. Meanwhile, the man in her life, her husband, remains unaware, blind to the shifting dynamic, believing that as long as he provides, as long as he remains steady, his position is secure. This is the illusion that destroys men, not the betrayal itself, but the refusal to see it coming. A man who believes that stability alone earns him loyalty will one day wake up to find that stability is not what keeps a woman engaged. A man who assumes his marriage is untouchable will never understand why it crumbled. The world does not reward complacency, and neither do relationships. If a man does not demand respect, he will lose it. If he ignores the signs, he will pay the price. The truth is not comfortable, but it is necessary. Marriage is not a shield against disloyalty. It is not a guarantee of devotion. It is a responsibility, a dynamic that requires constant awareness, strength, and presence. A man must never assume that love alone will keep a woman by his side. He must stand firm, not in control of her actions, but in control of his own. He must see things as they are, not as he wishes them to be. Because in the end, it is not love that secures a man's place in a woman's life, it is the respect he commands, the standards he upholds, and the strength he refuses to surrender. The hidden desires of married women, why stability isn't always enough. A man works tirelessly to build a life of stability. He believes that by providing security, comfort, and unwavering commitment, he is fulfilling his role. He assumes that a woman, once married, will find peace in the foundation he has laid. Yet human nature is rarely satisfied by what is merely sufficient. What a man sees as stability, a woman may eventually perceive as monotony. What he considers unwavering devotion, she may come to view as predictable routine. Stability alone does not ensure desire, it merely removes uncertainty. And without uncertainty, without contrast, passion can fade. Women, like men, crave stimulation, but theirs is often more emotional than physical. A marriage built purely on security can begin to feel like a contract rather than an adventure. The man who once challenged her, who once made her heart race with unpredictability, has become the steady, ever-present force in her life. He is there in the morning, there in the evening, there when she needs him, and there when she doesn't. Over time, she may not even recognize what is missing, only that something feels dulled, unexciting. This is why many married women, despite having everything they once claimed to desire, begin to seek something outside their marriage. It is not always calculated or premeditated. Often, it is a gradual pull toward contrast, toward the unknown, the forbidden, the thing that reminds them of the emotions they once felt but can no longer access. Some seek the thrill of secrecy, the validation of being desired anew. Others chase the simple feeling of being pursued again, of feeling irreplaceable in a way that routine cannot provide. And yet, they rarely seek to destroy what they have. For most, the marriage remains a foundation they are unwilling to abandon. Their husband is the rock, the provider, the man who makes their life possible. But the presence of stability does not extinguish the desire for excitement. Instead, it allows them to feel emboldened to take risks. A married woman who steps outside her vows does not necessarily feel like she is gambling with her future, she feels like she is balancing it. This is the contradiction that men often fail to see. They assume that by being the steady provider, by removing struggle, by giving a woman everything she needs, they are securing her loyalty. But in some cases, they are only making it easier for her to chase what she wants without consequence. She does not have to worry about survival, about being alone, about rebuilding her life from nothing. Her husband ensures that all of that remains intact. And so, she tells herself that what she does beyond his awareness is nothing more than a fleeting indulgence, a harmless escape. A man who understands this does not become paranoid or bitter. He does not live in fear of betrayal. Instead, he sharpens his awareness. He refuses to become complacent. He does not rest on the assumption that his presence alone is enough to keep a woman engaged. He remains dynamic, evolving, unpredictable in the ways that matter. He cultivates an energy that commands respect, not by controlling her, but by mastering himself. Because at the end of the day, a woman does not remain loyal because she is bound by vows. She remains loyal because she still sees value in the man she is with. A man who lets himself become passive, who assumes his job is done once the ring is on her finger, is a man who has already begun to lose her. Strength is not just in providing, it is in leading, in challenging, in refusing to become a shadow of the man she once admired. Stability alone is not the answer. Strength, presence, and self-respect, these are what make a man impossible to replace. The trap for men, why falling for a married woman is a losing game. A man who falls for a married woman is stepping into a game where the rules are already written, and they are not in his favor. He tells himself that she is different, that what they share is real, that she is trapped in a loveless marriage and that he, through his presence, has awakened something in her. He believes he is special. He believes she will choose him. But in reality, he is only a temporary escape, a fleeting thrill, a secret she can enjoy without consequence, until it becomes inconvenient. A married woman who seeks something outside her marriage is not looking for a new commitment, she is looking for contrast. She is not seeking another man to give her the stability she already has, she is seeking the excitement of uncertainty. The moment he begins to expect something real, the moment he starts pressing for more, he stops being a source of excitement and starts becoming a problem. And when that happens, she will do what is easiest, she will cut him off, retreat back into the life she never planned to leave, and remind herself that what they had was never meant to last. The man, however, is left with nothing. He has given his time, his emotions, and in some cases, his future to something that was never his to begin with. He may have convinced himself that he was winning her over, but in truth, he was always an afterthought, a chapter in her story, not the author of it. And the deeper he fell, the more blind he became to what was inevitable. She was never going to leave her husband, and even if she did, she would not be the woman he thought she was. A man who allows himself to become emotionally entangled with a married woman is a man who has lost sight of his own value. He has placed his self-worth in the hands of someone who has already proven she does not value commitment. He has let himself believe that if he just gives more, if he just waits a little longer, if he just proves himself worthy, she will choose him. But he fails to see that the very act of waiting, of hoping, of placing his emotions in her control is proof that he has already lost. A strong man does not chase after what belongs to another. He does not allow himself to be a second option. He does not become an emotional crutch for a woman who will only discard him when it suits her. Instead, he values himself enough to walk away. He understands that any relationship built on secrecy, on deception, on stolen moments will never be built to last. He refuses to invest in something that offers him no future, no stability, no respect. The greatest mistake a man can make is believing that love can override reality. Love cannot rewrite the past. It cannot undo the vows she took, the life she built, the responsibilities she carries. No matter how much she tells him she cares, no matter how real it feels in the moment, the foundation is broken before it even begins. A man who respects himself does not settle for being a distraction. He does not fight for the affection of someone who has already made her choice. He does not become another man's problem. Instead, he stands firm in his value, knowing that a woman who truly wants to be with him will come to him freely, not as an escape, not as a secret, but as a choice. Because in the end, a man who falls for a married woman is not winning anything, he is only delaying his own loss. The Stoic response: what a man must learn from this reality. A man cannot control the actions of others, but he can control how he responds. He cannot force loyalty, nor should he try. A woman who seeks excitement elsewhere has already made her choice, and a man's role is not to plead, chase, or seek explanations. His role is to see reality for what it is and act accordingly. The foundation of Stoicism is understanding that external circumstances are unpredictable, but one's inner world, one's discipline, values, and self-respect, must remain unshaken. The first lesson is detachment. A man must never tie his sense of worth to another person's behavior. If a woman disrespects him, betrays his trust, or seeks validation outside the relationship, it is not a reflection of his inadequacy, it is a reflection of her character. A weak man personalizes betrayal. He agonizes over what he could have done differently, how he could have prevented it, as if love were a negotiation and not a choice. But a strong man understands that his value does not fluctuate based on the loyalty of another. He does not collapse under the weight of disappointment because he was never dependent on external validation to begin with. The second lesson is control over emotions. Many men, when faced with disloyalty, react with anger, revenge, or desperation. They beg, they argue, they demand answers. But what does this accomplish? It only confirms their loss of control. A Stoic man does not react emotionally to chaos. He does not seek vengeance or validation. He removes himself from what no longer serves him and continues walking his path, unaffected by the storms around him. Strength is not proven through confrontation, it is proven through restraint. The third lesson is to never abandon one's purpose for the sake of another. A man's mission is the core of his existence. When a man builds his life around a woman, he loses his identity. He makes her the center of his universe, and in doing so, he becomes expendable. A woman cannot truly respect a man who prioritizes her above his own path. The moment he places her above his purpose, she will begin to see him as weak, even if she never admits it. A man must cultivate his mind, body, and ambitions not for the sake of impressing a woman, but for the sake of his own fulfillment. The final lesson is acceptance. Not all relationships are meant to last. Not all women are capable of true commitment. The world is full of illusions, of love that is conditional, of loyalty that fades, of people who say one thing and do another. But none of that should change how a man carries himself. He must remain unwavering in his standards, unmoved by fleeting emotions, and unwilling to sacrifice his self-respect for temporary companionship. A Stoic man does not waste time trying to hold on to what is already gone. He does not break himself trying to fix what was never whole. He accepts the truth as it is, not as he wishes it to be, and he moves forward without looking back. Because in the end, the only thing a man truly possesses is himself, and that must be enough. A man's strength is not measured by what he owns, who he is with, or how others perceive him. His strength lies in how he carries himself when everything around him falls apart. The greatest illusion in life is that we can possess another person, that love is something we can secure through effort, or that loyalty is guaranteed by vows or time. The truth is far simpler and far harsher: nothing and no one truly belongs to us. The only thing a man can control is himself, his actions, his mindset, and his ability to walk away from what no longer aligns with his values. Self-respect is not conditional. It does not waver based on who stays or who leaves. A weak man begs, compromises his standards, and fights for something that has already been lost. A strong man observes, understands, and makes decisions that align with his dignity. He does not need to convince a woman to be loyal. He does not need to demand respect. He commands it simply by the way he lives. Life will test every man. There will be betrayals, disappointments, and illusions that shatter before his eyes. He will witness people break their promises, seek temporary pleasures over long-term commitment, and prioritize their own desires over their word. But how a man responds to these tests determines his character. Does he collapse? Does he become bitter? Or does he accept reality with unshaken resolve and continue forward with his head held high? A man who understands his worth does not waste time chasing validation. He does not tie his identity to another person's presence in his life. He focuses on his purpose, on his personal growth, on becoming someone so unbreakable that no betrayal, no loss, and no disappointment can shake him. Women come and go. Relationships flourish and fade. But self-respect is permanent, and it is the foundation of a man's power. Let this be your lesson: never beg for what is freely given. Never lower your standards for temporary affection. And never allow your value to be determined by another person's loyalty. Your strength is in how you carry yourself, in the discipline you maintain, in the unshakable core that no one, not a woman, not society, not even your emotions, can break. Because at the end of it all, the only thing that defines you is how you stand when everything else falls away. If this message spoke to you, take action, hit like and subscribe to Ultimate Stoicism for more wisdom on self-respect and strength. Share your thoughts in the comments. Have you seen these patterns in your own life? What lessons have you learned? This isn't just a channel, it's a brotherhood. Subscribe now and step into the mindset of a man who commands respect through the way he lives.